Hey, how's it going? Cesar Rodriguez here, and I just wanted to give you some context to the video that you're about to watch. This video is actually a clip coming from a private group that I have where I essentially help network marketers to recruit 10 people in 10 days. It's called the Recruit 10 in 10 Challenge. If you are interested in learning more about this group, or if you really like the content in this video and you'd like to see the entire training, look for a link somewhere around this video and feel free to click it if you want to learn more. I want you to understand something. Think about it. It's not an actual objection. There's something else within that, but you just don't have good enough rapport, trust, and credibility with that person for them to tell you. Because if you did, someone goes, I need to think about it. You could just look them dead in the eye and authentically ask if you have the right rapport, right? Think about it's like one of your friends, one of your best friends. And they're like, I need to think about it. You could be like, hey man, we've been friends for how many years? If someone says they need to think about it, they're either scared or they're holding something back. They don't have the confidence to get started because they think that they're going to fail. They think that they're going to start and fail, and they're scared. So they're coming from a position of fear, or there's something they're not telling me. So honestly, what's that little voice inside of you really saying right now? What's really going on? Because there's no such thing as someone thinking about it. There's something that you want to think about. If someone says they want to think about it, there's an it. Like, what is the it? Just level with me. Let's keep it 100. If you have enough rapport, trust, and credibility, you can just straight up ask. But most of us are caught in these little worlds like, oh, okay. Well, if you want to think about it, I understand. If someone gets away from you with a think about it objection, here's what I just want you to realize. If someone can get away from you and they just go, I want to think about it, and then you try to probe and they don't give you any information, you have failed in building sufficient rapport, trust, and credibility. And that is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. So they don't even ask. They don't want to know. They don't want their ego to be damaged by probing and having the person go, I don't really want to go into it. Some personal stuff. Because if they drop that on you, that should tell you that you're just not there yet, baby. You're just not there yet. You know what? You're about $200 to $300 away from solving that problem. Getting my immediate yes formula course, because then you'll learn how to build rapport, trust, and credibility like a boss. And yes, that was a little fun promo, because honestly, I break that down. You're couple $100 away from getting that problem removed. The reason I say that is because there's a checklist in that course that literally will help you to build better rapport with people. And it's like after every presentation, there's a series of questions, and it's called the Immediate Yes Formula Checklist. And what I would do is I would go through it. I went through this. This is what I did for myself, guys. This is my personal playbook for how I got to be as good and effective as I am. There's a checklist. Inside, you get a workbook and you get an action guide, and it's called the Immediate Yes Formula Checklist. And it goes into, so for example, I'm just going to give you a little idea on this, because you can start doing this yourself without the course. But if you want all the questions that I would ask, it's in there. You want to do this before, sometimes during, and after a presentation. So there's a checklist. Imagine calling someone up, and before you do, you go through this. And in the question where it's like trust and credibility, there's a list of questions you can ask yourself. One of them is, would this person trust me to watch their kids for the weekend? If the answer is no, then you didn't have sufficient trust and credibility with that person. If they didn't trust you to watch their kids for the weekend, then you didn't have as much trust as you could have had. The reason I throw that in there as a question is because if you look at that and you go, no, they wouldn't trust me with their kids for the weekend. They wouldn't trust me to house sit. Then guess what that means? You have more rapport to build. Now, there are a couple friends that I have that I would trust them to watch my kids. Some of you guys go, I would never let anyone watch my kids for the weekend. That's okay. That's okay. That just means you are very protective of your children, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's something to aspire to. It's a level. Imagine hitting a level with someone where you have so much rapport, trust, and credibility with them that they would allow you to watch their kids for the weekend. Some of you guys would trust me because you'd go, Cesar, he seems like a good dude. He's hilarious. My kids maybe they'd curse or something after the weekend, but I don't believe that he's a pedophile and would do anything that would damage their psyche. Some of you guys would go, dude, Cesar could watch my kids for the weekend. Are you freaking kidding me? Hell yeah. How do I sign up for that retreat? He charges 15 to 20 grand to go to his house for 4 days. Like, holy crap, he'd watch my kids for free. He's probably going to teach him something. He can't help himself. He's probably going to help him overcome some type of fear. They're probably going to come back to me bolder and more confident than ever. Hell yeah. Like, Cesar, take my kids. How much do I have to pay you? Do you see that? You can literally get to that level with some people, right? So don't think it's impossible. Don't think it's impossible. Strive to get that good with people. And you can tell enough stories. You can get to know someone that you just met that well that they would do that. I know because I've been there with many people. I've sold timeshare and had people go, I'm not buying anything from you no matter what you say, to start the presentation. And by the end of it, they're totally like, how are you still single? Do you know that my granddaughter, she would love you and you would love her. Let me tell you about my granddaughter. I've had people try to marry me off when I was single to their daughters and their granddaughters and hook them up with their friends. I've had time with people's kids for a few minutes that they go, you are really good with kids. You are really good with kids. Can you come hang out with us and drink a beer after work? What time do you get off? Can we buy you dinner? When you get to that level of rapport, people will buy from you just because they want to be around you. They want to be in your presence. So that's one question. The other questions are less extreme. You know, some of the questions, are a little bit less extreme that you'll ask yourself. But when you're done with the presentation, when you go through these questions, you'll be like, yep, that's why I didn't have enough rapport. If you're getting think about it and you can't ask someone straight up with 100% authenticity, like what's really going on, that's just a reflection of the fact that you know that you don't have enough rapport to ask that question. If you think they're going to get uncomfortable, you just don't have enough rapport, trust, and credibility. So work on getting it and watch all of these objections melt away. Because when you get to that level, the levels that I teach inside of that course, guess what ends up happening? You can ask someone anything you want. There's no level. Right now, there's like a level for a lot of you guys of questions that you can ask that, oh, if I ask this question, that's too invasive. The way that I used to get out of doing presentations when I sold timeshare, and when I say get out of them, like get out, like I've done the presentation, but I need to okay, I'm going to let this person go and wait for another prospect, right? Instead, because I was in a culture, and I'll just say this quick story because this is a really long and detailed training, but I was in a part of a culture where it was like, you never quit. Like you dig in until they buy or die. So the way that I used to, and this was great because it made me very strong, right? It made me very strong and always able to turn somebody if I really wanted to. But that was the culture from the top down. It was like, you freaking dig in. The culture was done. And that stood for deals only, no excuses. That was the culture. They would just say done. Deals only, no excuses. So I was raised in a Navy SEAL-like environment where it was like, absolutely, you do not get off the table until there's a deal. And you go and you go and you go. And you don't give up. And if you do, and the person doesn't buy, you better have a really good reason, because someone's going to say, why didn't they buy? After every presentation, why didn't they buy? What was the reason? Because they're drilling you, seeing if you're weak, if you're strong. And if they're like, oh, well, they wanted to think about it. They wanted to think. So you didn't even find out the real reason? Man, Rodriguez is getting weak over there. Rodriguez is weak. So you know what I did to prove to my bosses, my manager, and the VP, all people who I'm super good friends with now, and we're so cool, so awesome to be in that relationship with these people. Because at one point, they were like my drill sergeants. It's like so awesome to basically be able to break bread with your drill sergeant after you're retired from the military, right? I can only imagine. But back then, I used to find out what was in the person's bank account, my prospect's bank account, and I would have to see it. I would say, listen, if you can log into your bank account and you can show me like what your actual bank balance is, and you're saying that you don't have the money, if you can show me that, then 100% I agree that you should not buy this. And I will even tell my bosses that I saw your bank account and that you don't have the money. And if you run this credit application and you come up with bad credit and you can't get approved for anything, you can show me that your bank account doesn't have the funds to be able to buy, then I will walk you out of the front door and I will make sure that no one else tries to sell you or gives you a hard time about this whatsoever. And I would even tell them, and I said, plus it'll help me because then those guys won't jump on my back trying to get me to continue selling. Because I don't think that you should own this. I don't want to put you in a tough financial position, but they're not going to believe me unless I've got some evidence. So if you want to log into your bank and show me, dude, I'll totally tell them and we'll get you out of here lickety split. And people would show me their bank accounts. They'd log into their bank statement to show me. You know what they could have said? I don't got to prove nothing to you. I'm not buying anything. I don't got the money. We're done. You know how many people did that to me in my career? 0. You know how many people showed me their bank account? 100%. 100% of everyone I've ever asked to do that did it. Why? Because I had sufficient, go ahead and say it. I had sufficient rapport. What else? Trust and credibility. You can get to that level where you can meet someone and they could feel like they have to prove to you by showing you their bank statement that they don't have the money. And that's the only reason they're not buying. You can get someone so in the deal, they're like, I would buy this, but I don't have the money. Legit, here's the proof. Because they want to prove to you that they're not lying, because they want your rapport. They want your friendship. They want you to trust them so badly that they will prove it. They'll say, hey, look, I want you to like me. I want you to believe me. I know we just met, but your opinion of me is so important that I will do anything that I can to prove to you that I'm not lying, because you're my new friend and I like you and I want to prove it to you because your opinion matters. Think about how much rapport I had to build with someone to have them feel like that. And it was genuine. It wasn't playing games. You know, one of my biggest secrets to having tremendous rapport with people? It's genuinely loving them, genuinely liking them, genuinely caring about them. Just being a loving, caring person and remembering that that person that you're talking to is a living, breathing human being. How's it going? Cesar Rodriguez back at you, and I just wanted to say before this clip ends, if you liked what you saw, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Feel free to drop a comment below. If you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel and blog and you like this kind of content that I'm creating, feel free to subscribe. And if you'd like to see the entire training that this came from, it's actually entitled Session 44 inside of a private group that I have called the Recruit 10 People in 10 Days Challenge. If you're a network marketer and you'd like to recruit 10 people inside a 10-day period, find out when the next time I'm doing one of these challenges are and feel free to join. Until then, see you in the next video.